having graduated from Thiel with an undergraduate degree in 2016 and with a graduate degree in 2021. She was hired by Thiel as an admission counselor and was then promoted to the position of Assistant Director of Admissions and Graduate Counselor, a position she currently enjoys. She will talk to us today on the 5 graduate programs that Thiel now has and will provide important information on their history and viability to the Thiel curriculum and the students' lives. I am proud to present Morgan Bodnar.
Great. Well, hello, everybody. I see many familiar faces, and I will say I also see many then program directors also with us as well for our graduate programs and other faculty that teach in those programs. So please share as well. As we get to your program, if there's something more that you would like to share, I have just basic facts. In just a couple, literally 1 or 2 slides on each program, because I know it's a short period of time, and just want to give a little bit of a snippet. And especially for faculty, I know we're maybe a little bit later in the semester for some advising, but I'm sure at the same time, you have those students in the back of your head that, oh, they might be really good for this, right? Or this might be a program that they might go down that route for. And also, too, this is not for seniors always, too, right? That you think of that student. It may be that sophomore or that junior who is getting ready to go down that path as well. So more information for you as faculty to share. For students here as well, too, because I know you've all been hiding underneath a rock and you have no idea that graduate programs now exist at Thiel. It's meant to be a joke. But to give you an idea and a thought process of maybe you didn't know that this existed, or even that was the path to take in order to get there. So just to kind of give a little bit of an idea of what some of the programs that we have, and how you then maybe might fit into those programs. So first up is one of our newest of them all, is our physician assistant program. So physician assistants have a master's degree in, surprisingly, physician assistant studies, right? And then they have certification by the National Commission of Certification of Physician Assistants, right? And they have, in order to get that, they have to take the PANCE exam. They have to retake it every 10 years, must complete 100 hours of continuing education every couple years in order to maintain that status, right? So for me, that's something very important whenever I go to the doctor's office, right? That my physician assistant who's seeing me knows what's going on, right, in the world and is up to date on all that other fun stuff. So to give you an idea of what life after Thiel's PA program would then entail as well too, and what you're signing up for later on as well. So here, our program, we have 40 seats, 27-month program, a couple months that you're here on campus. I'm sure you're giggling about the picture of Dr. Hank. It's wonderful. It's fabulous. He's a great model for us in marketing. So 27-month program. The first few months, students are here with us taking classes in the classatory, in the cadaver lab, getting hands-on experience to learn the basics, right? To learn the textbook material in those first few months. And then unfortunately, but fortunately, they get to leave us and go out into the real world and get that hands-on experience, because as we all know very well, textbooks don't teach you everything, right? So it's how to communicate with that patient and to gain that experience whenever those stressful situations come into play. I mean, I'm sure our students that are in their rotations right now in the ER are loving some of those situations that the textbook doesn't help you figure out all the time, right? So those clinical rotations, very important. And those rotations, this is always a question that we receive from students interested in the program, is where are those rotations? Where can those rotations be? We do partner with some local facilities here in Mercer County and the surrounding areas, but we also have locations across the states as well too, based on students' interests, availability, and whatnot. So some different opportunities there. We start in July of every year, and it is a full course load in that didactic year, so it can be a little intense. Don't worry, they got you to help you through. With us being a new program, I always just like to throw this out there because it can be confusing. We do have a provisional accreditation status. That means that we're a new program. We do have accreditation, right? We just have to go through certain steps in order to get that word provisional going off. And we have to, they're watching us a little bit more as being a new program, but we are still then fully accredited. Students are graduating from a fully accredited program. Some things that do make Thiel a little bit different. So the medical Spanish is huge. We were just talking about that a little bit today. And something that isn't always offered for physician assistant programs. Clinical practicum while you're here. So, right, we have some actors coming from Pitt this week, I believe was mentioned, or in the near future here. So bringing them availability and accessibility and different experiences here to campus for students to experience before they get out into clinicals. PANCE prep, so preparation for the big exam at the end. And conveniently, for applicants, the GRE and other standardized testing at application, through the application process is not required. But students, for what we call our Pathway 2 program, students applying from college, going on then to the master's program, not the high school program, that is what we call Pathway 1. The Pathway 2 program, students apply through CASPA, which is a centralized application process, and we ask for, obviously, then college transcripts, 3 letters of recommendation, shadowing and patient care experience, and a personal statement to start our application process. So a couple of the classes that students definitely take, that we require for our program. These are all prerequisite courses. We want to make sure that you have a little bit of a background of what you're getting into, right, before you get started with us, and some courses that we definitely recommend as well. And these, sorry, I skipped ahead a slide for a quick second, but these are some of the courses then that our students do take while they're here in their didactic year as well. So a little bit on those clinical rotations. They do last 5 weeks in time that students are out at each of the individual rotations there. There's 7 core and 2 electives. And they're working under a medical doctor, another PA, somebody who's been in the field. They are able then to guide and assist them as well. So I will say that is my last slide on physician assistant. Physician assistant faculty, anything else to add? Okay. So for our business administration program, it's an 11-month program here with us. Students are awarded then a 400-hour graduate assistant, which conveniently helps with tuition as well too. At the end of the program, there's a 7-week internship that we try to have out in the private sector, and fortunately, we've been very lucky that all of our students so far from all of our cohorts, that internship has been paid. So that is really nice and convenient, right, for our students. We start off the program, though, early July as well, same as the physician assistant program. Basically, all of our graduate programs start in the summer. But we kick it off with a 3-day residency. We have you come to campus, we have you as a cohort sit together, have lunch together, have dinner together, get to know each other, have some the wonderful icebreakers that everybody loves at the beginning of classes. I was going to say, once again, it's a joke, you can laugh. So those types of things. But we also have then some case studies to get you thinking, right? And if you're, I had the wonderful opportunity to partake in this program. And I was in the first cohort, so a little bit of a guinea pig in there as well too, but I'll take it. And I'll tell you what, for me, being out, I was out of college for 4 or 5 years at that point. So getting back into the swing of things, that residency was very, very helpful. And even just making my mind think back in a way of like economics. as a marketing major, I took those classes and such, but it had been years, right? So getting back into the swing of those things at residency really helped. So the classes in organizational leadership, ethics, financial accounting, management, and data analytics, which is one of the things that does make our MBA program stand out from other programs as well too, because in the business world, data's running it. So in order to know how to look at those statistics is very important. So also in addition to some classwork, we have some hands-on experience that is definitely key as well for not just any of our medical programs, but for something that's maybe a little bit more different, right? We have, I just listed 2 specific bullet points there, but from 2 of our different cohorts, they worked with the Hermitage wastewater treatment, and they created a succession and a business plan for them. And I'm sure Dr. Koss can go into detail there. It's a really cool story of what they did over there. And in my cohort, one of the things that we did as an example was we worked with the United Way of Mercer County in our marketing class to work with a marketing plan and a strategy plan for them. And during our residency, and this is something too that we'll touch on in a quick second with our communication and leadership program, because they did, they're doing this a little bit as well too. But we work with a company called Bartel & Bartel. They're out of State College. And we get the wonderful opportunity to be the only college or university that they work with. They typically work with big businesses and big companies to fill their C-suite positions. But yet they're working with our students to gain a little bit more of that servant leadership and those management skills there, and DISC, which is a personality and trait basically test, if you will, at first, but then it does all kinds of data and stuff on the back end side, and it tells you all kinds of stuff about yourself, which it was really weird. The weirdest thing in the entire world that I've ever experienced is to have a complete stranger look at you and say, Neil, because you have a lowercase I in your DISC, this is how you would react in this situation, and get it correct. It was really weird. But it was also really funny for the rest of the students in the cohort, just weird for me, whenever they called me on something there. But it was really cool, and I learned a lot about myself. Also, then taking that, and part of the reason why we do this is where are your areas for growth and change and learning those things there. So for the MBA program, application process is pretty easy. I do have this mapped a little bit more specifically for Thiel students. There is a little bit of a different process for non-Thiel students, but to give you an idea here, we're looking for your application and a personal statement, and then I'll get all your transcripts and stuff from the records office, as long as you give me that check mark on the application, so you don't have to worry about sending that over from one building to the other. We'll get that for you, and then we have the interview with Dr. Koss in order to get an admissions decision. And to give you an idea, this was last year's numbers, but to give you a thought process for the 11-month program. Dr. Koss, anything to add for the MBA?
The only thing I would say is it's open to business and non-business majors.
Yes.
If you're a non-business major, it's something that you can do. We work with a company called MBAIQ, and they do some stuff online. That gets everybody up to speed, so we all start at the same place.
Awesome, thank you very much. Alrighty, ours, did you have something else, Dr. Koss?
That's it.
Okay, just check. Next, our speech language pathology program. So fun fact of the day, other than all of this fun stuff, this was our first master's program that we got up and running. That all started in about 2018, 2019. So to give you a thought process, all these 5 programs are fairly new. Thiel's that new to the graduate world, so it's been really cool to kind of see it all evolve over the years. But so it is a 14-month program. Classes start in June, though. All the other programs are going to be starting in July. This is one that is a little outlier. Students spend their first few months with us here, so in December. Unfortunately, they leave us and they go out into the fun hands-on experience, real world, and they go into their clinicals. So then it is a 6-credit externship for their clinicals as well too, in a school or a medical setting. I think something that I didn't really realize for speech pathology is how much the field goes from literally the day of birth to potentially the day of death. I know not to get morbid for everybody, but I didn't realize that until working with this program. So it's very important, not just at the school setting for somebody with a speech impediment, but for those who have maybe had that stroke or just getting older and muscles are not functioning the way that they used to, right? Those types of things. And right now, our accreditation status, we're a candidate with CCAA. So one of the things that makes our program really unique is we have a clinic right here on campus. So students, while they are in their classes and their first few months here with us, they're able to use that clinic to get hands-on experience. And we also then use it then as a free service for the Greenville community. I believe right now we're at about 30 or so clients that we service for speech language services. Right now in the Greenville community. So great opportunity for our students to get some hands-on experience down in the Glenn Johnson Community Center, just on the other side of campus. And that's really where a majority of their classes are as well too, down in the Glenn Johnson. But then, I think really cool aspect, one of our students, as she was in our second cohort, I believe, Abigail Julian, she had her first peer-reviewed publication while she was here as a student. So another fun fact for your day. And right now we're sitting at 92 job placement within the last 6 months, or within 6 months of graduation. And that's job in the field. That's not continuing on education, that's being a speech language pathologist. And that 92 it is only because of one student, or else it would be 100%, but she had some health things going on that she purposely did not then continue on. So it wasn't for lack of anything, and she is now placed a couple years later. So to give you guys thought process there, so an outstanding program. How this program functions a little bit for the application process. There is also a centralized application, it's called SIDCAST, though as well too. We're looking for a personal statement, transcripts, resume, and then we have the student's interview with Dr. Mary Beth Mason, the director of the program. And to give you an idea, for Thiel alumni, for cost, this is last year's cost projection, so to give you a thought process there for you. And all of these students receive, though, this is including a graduate assistantship as well too with the clinic. There is then tuition perks there as well too with that graduate assistantship. Sorry, I was looking to see if I had Dr. Mason in here, just to see if she had anything else to add. So communication and leadership is another one of our programs. It's an 11-month program as well as the MBA. It also has a 400-hour graduate assistantship offered to students. There's courses such as cultural awareness, ethical leadership, and strategic planning. They also have hands-on real-life experiences. So for this program, how that kind of functions a little bit is we look at the students and we say, what is it that you're doing after graduation, right? What's your goal? What's that end goal, right? So in our first cohort, we had a student who is one of our athletic coaches here at Thiel, and he was really trying to amp up the marketing of that, right? So that was one project he was really focused on, so kind of taking every different things back then to his team and all of his different classes and taking it back, and what is that one thing that he can go back and put into that. I sat in specifically on one of that he was doing some specific marketing videos and communications for it, and it was really cool. It was also really cool to see how each student catered the same project, the same original outline, the same prompts, but made it their own for what it was that they wanted to do after graduation of this program. And some of the goals here of the program is for decision making, to improve some goal setting and expanding the ability to lead. So how this process maps out, we're looking for a personal statement, a resume, 2 letters of recommendation, transcripts, obviously the application as well, and then an interview with Dr. Hanneman, our program director. So to give you an idea, this was cost including the graduate assistantship for that program as well too for last year. Dr. Hanneman, anything else you want to add?
think I would probably just say that all the students in our first cohort were able to leverage their experience, their credential, and the skill sets that they acquired into professional careers in the areas of their career interest. So they're working in conservation biology, students in governmental social services, and in collegiate athletics. So.
They're rocking in their own. And last but not least, but they were the last to be added to our repertoire of master programs, the clinical mental health counseling program. This program just opened up here this fall and started courses, so they are our newest. But this program is meant for students to learn how to diagnose and to treat mental and emotional disorders. In many different ways, anything from one-on-one settings to couples, groups, the whole 9 yards when it comes down to it, and for more effective therapeutic treatment. So to give an idea as well too, this is also just something I like to share because I didn't know this just myself before working with this program a little bit. This is typically a 9-year process after high school. What? I didn't know that. So I just find that as a shocker, at first. But here for Thiel, what makes ours then a little bit different is students do their 4 years here at Thiel, and then it's a 2-year program. So we're really chopping it down a little bit, making it an accelerated program so students can get in, out, and get going, right? As much as we want to keep you here and we love having you here, we want to get you going as well too so that you're able to succeed. So to give you that thought process, like I said, it's a 2-year program. We started it this fall. The goal is then for students to be able to be a licensed practicing counselor, if that's the route that they continue to take, to sit for licensure there at that point. This program totally maps out each student in order to do so. To counsel individuals, groups, and to advocate. There's 60 credit hours in total for this program. Training for more than 800 hours with volunteering and with clients. That's going to be here on campus as well as elsewhere. Students are able then they receive a graduate assistantship as well. That's 400 hours in the first year here on campus in places like the counseling center. I'm sure that one surprises you that we have here on campus, or in career services, right? Because there's always some type of counseling that needs to be had there, just as a few examples. And then we also have partnerships that we have been gathering, and we're still looking for more, so if you have any thoughts. But for that second year, for that graduate assistantship to be a little bit more off campus, to be in a local agency so that we're giving back to the community some resources because this field needs a lot of help, with just hands, with bodies in order to service everybody. So, then giving back a little bit in whatever way that Thiel can, but also then providing our students with that opportunity and that hands-on experience as well. And then, like I said, to prepare students to seek licensure. So a couple things for our program. While Thiel has an 11-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio, this program has the 12-to-1, which meets accreditation standards. A very unique curriculum that emphasizes in social justice, let's be wrong, that's not going anywhere in the wonderful world that we're in lately. So it's one of those things that we really, when developing this program, Thiel really wanted to emphasize on, so students had that opportunity to really get a hands-on look of how that functioned before going out into the real world so that they can assist in whatever way possible. Like I said, then strong attention then to clinical skills and training and development. But then there also is an accelerated program, not just for the 2 years track, but also for students looking to come out of high school, as well as the MBA, physician assistant, and speech language pathology have that path as well. So, I don't see Dr. McCurdy in here to add anything more. Okay, does anybody have any questions about any of our grad programs? Yes?
How much did the counseling cost?